John Cordy, and today I'm here to sell you everything, obviously. Today I just wanted to make a video sort of asking about how you feel about kind of gear demos and reviews on YouTube, and specifically I guess on my channel, and sort of the place that they have on the channel or not. I guess the first thing I should say is that I don't charge for any of the videos that I make, and although that might seem like a weird thing to say, I think the state of play is that some channels do charge companies to film stuff and feature it on their channel and stuff. That's not what I do, and I have a sort of feeling about whether that is what I should do or not. I feel like for me it's not the sort of thing I want to do, but I will accept gear from manufacturers, if that makes sense, which I know some people would consider as payment anyway, so it's sort of a little bit of a grey area. And then if it's a video that I'm making specifically for another company to feature on their stuff, for instance Tone Junkie pay me per video, not to feature it on mine, but because they want to use that video themselves. So that's the way things are for me. But I get people asking for comparison videos and stuff, and like the Iridium, I've bought the Iridium specifically because I wanted to see for myself how it stood up to things like the Helix and the Kemper. I had a skeptical eye about some of the marketing, was this really the next big thing? Could all of what was said about it be true? Or is it, mostly marketing, mostly hype? So that was the reason for me that I got the Iridium, specifically because I was interested to see what it sounded like, what it felt like, and then naturally it made sense to do some comparisons and stuff. The reason I think mostly the gear that I present on the channel or play through is stuff that I'm genuinely interested, and I'm following my own genuine interests. The Iridium is an amp modeler, the Helix, the HX Stomp, the Kemper, the Fractal Audio FM3. Hopefully you see there's kind of a common thread. Since I was, 15, 14, something like that, I've been recording direct with things like a Pod XT or etc. all through up till now. So it makes sense for me, I think, to try and... So that's, I think, where the modeler interest comes from. And when the Iridium broke, the idea was that I'd try and find something that replaced it. So the amplifier was something that was mentioned in the comments, the simplifier was something that was mentioned in the comments. So that was the reason for the reviews that I've done with those. Unfortunately, I don't think the spirit of those reviews was necessarily conveyed particularly well to someone who was completely new to the channel. So for instance, I wasn't glowingly positive about the simplifier, and what for me was an issue was that the effects loop would introduce a level that was sufficient to clip delay pedals that were in the loop, which for me was an issue. I think the word issue was misinterpreted by the manufacturers themselves to mean an unresolvable fault or a real problem. For me, it's just something I felt it was important to point out, that this thing happens if you set the knobs this way. It wasn't me with an axe to grind or some of these things, or it's not me just not knowing how to use knobs. It was just something that happens, and chances are if you're on a gig and you can't hear yourself, you might end up pushing your knob this way, and if that happens, here is what might happen to your delay pedal. I thought that was fair, and it turns out that the manufacturer didn't particularly, and also a distributor for the company didn't, and they jumped into the comments and told me that the product is a-okay. So I just wanted to know from your point of view whether you want me to continue to do reviews in that sort of way, whether comparisons are useful, or whether it's kind of irrelevant anyway. I don't want to put anyone's sort of neck out a joint But I felt that if I was gonna follow what the subscribers were asking me to check out, check out the Simplifier, I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I thought that meant that people would want to hear the thoughts on it. Now, if they're not all glowingly positive, should I just not put the review up? Or I think there's some, if you read some people, like, they're thinking that it's like a cynical thing that some YouTube people are doing, where they're putting kind of pros and cons into a video, as if that's like a way of trying to mask their partiality or impartiality. The reason that I would do it is because I'm thinking that there's some people that are trying to make a choice between two products. So if I compare an Iridium to an HX Stomp, the assumption from me is that people might come to the channel and think, well, I can either spend £400 on this or £400 on this. And so the pros and cons thing is about weighing up which one will work better for you. So that's kind of how I feel that my reviewing and demoing stuff sits. I don't think it's a huge part of the channel. I think more the channel is about exploring about maybe how you could get certain tones out of certain devices or whatever. Maybe some of the sounds like Andy Timmons or Eric Johnson, some of that sort of stuff. And maybe even just exploring the things that I'm trying to figure out myself. For instance, I'm going to try and figure out how to actually get reliably decent sounds from miking an amp. But I just wanted to know your thoughts, so leave comments below, or if you're on Patreon and that sort of stuff, you could let me know there. My interests in the modelling world are pretty much fairly obvious, I would say. And I think, like I said in the video about the Simplifier, if I could recommend or find something that I liked better than the Iridium for the money or for less money, I'd have no reservations about saying this thing I prefer and it does everything that I liked that the Iridium did. But that wasn't the case. So I don't know, is that fair to say, or is it not worth saying because it's going to annoy probably manufacturers and distributors of the product, who will feel the need to come and comment on the video? So if you're one of those people that does want comparison videos and stuff, let me know. If you're one of those people that says actually it's kind of irrelevant, or if you're one of those people who thinks, well, I'd like to hear the thing but I don't really need to know your opinion, that'd be also cool to just know what the kind of the general feeling is. But yeah, I think the point of the video was just to try and gauge what people's general feelings are, and maybe why you come to this channel. For me, it feels like the right thing to do to mention things that I don't think are exactly what I would want in a device if they happen to show themselves. But yeah, the Iridium's back, and now I'm going to do some stuff with the Iridium. I plugged it in quickly last night, and it was pretty obvious why I like the thing. It kind of feels bouncy, it feels alive, and it sounds like what I want the thing to sound like. It sounds like a Vox, and it sounds like a Fender. Simple. Leave any thoughts you had on this. Am I worrying about things too much? As I say, I think that the general aim is to kind of try and be honest, and if I can signpost gear that is potentially not hugely expensive that inspires me, then that's kind of the thing that I like to bring to the channel. But if you've asked me to check out a piece of gear and I've got an opinion on it which isn't glowingly positive, should I just not feature the gear or what? So yeah, let me know. And here's some Iridium playing. Cheers!